Hey guys, so how to set up a coaching business and how to start a life coaching business. Let's do how to start a life coaching business. So one thing that most people struggle with when they're getting started is how to get clients, right? Anyone can get their LLC, can make a business name, and can really get some of their literature up. But the thing that really makes you the business is, can you start getting paying clients? Now, I understand if maybe you're watching this, you don't want to make some kind of giant corporation, right? But in order to have a business, you still need to go and bring in some sort of income, right? And in our business, the cool thing is that the income we make is really directly tied to the impact we have, right? Because then people start telling their friends, they start sharing their transformation, and then more people want to come and get helped by you. Now, the challenge that most people face, though, is that if you don't figure out the marketing, you're never going to have the impact you really desire, and you're always going to be kind of, having to focus more on marketing than anything else, right? Because think about it like this. When you are good at marketing and you're getting calls booked in your calendars and people are wanting to work with you, you don't really think that much about marketing, right? You can focus on coaching and working with people. But if you don't have any calls in your calendar and no one's really wanting to work with you and no one's responding, then all you think about is, how can I get the marketing work? How can I get clients? How can I get clients? So let's handle that as soon as possible, okay? Also, if you're a coach or consultant and you've been thinking about starting your business, but it's just not quite working the way that you think it was or hope that it would, then go ahead and click the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program for coaches and consultants. So when I was starting my coaching business, I was really, really bad at, number one, finding the right people, and number two, communicating exactly how I can help them out, right? Now, the tough part about being a life coach is that you have to find aspects of life that people are willing to pay money for. If you keep it very, very broad, it's very, very, very intangible and it's very abstract. And a lot of people have trouble paying for something that is abstract. For example, if you think about most services businesses, right? Let's say for a plumber, your pipes are exploding. You're gonna pay money to fix your pipes, right? It's a very clear deliverable. They've either fixed their pipe or they haven't fixed their pipe. Another deliverable could be, someone is maybe going to come and vacuum your house, right? The person comes in and vacuums, and then you pay them. It's very tangible. But when it comes to life coaching, a lot of times a feeling that most people are going to experience, and you have to learn how to tie it to tangible results. For example, I had a student in our program, and when she first got started, she was trying to teach work-life balance, right? And work-life balance, it's a cool kind of thing to think about, but most people don't actually understand what that means. So when you say to someone, hey, I'm charging you $5,000 to balance out your life, they're like, well, what does balance look like? You have to get good at describing what balance means. Maybe it's you're able to go and reduce the amount of time you're spending on your job or your business. Then we're also making sure that you have really clear boundaries between your personal life and your work life. Then we're showing you how to really heal from some of those past traumas that maybe you have when it comes to relationships that is stopping you from being able to find a good relationship. That's why you're on your fourth marriage, and it's still kind of really, really troubling, right? And those are tangible things. And if you notice, we started thinking more about the relationships, right? So there's three main avenues that people are willing to pay a lot of money for if you can help them improve their wealth, their health, or their relationships. If you notice, we started sliding between these two, and if you even want to make it a little bit even more more awesome, then you would say, yeah, we're also going to help with your mental health, right? Your mental fitness, your mental fortitude, so you don't always feel like you're depressed or don't feel like you're overwhelmed. You could be feeling more calm. Okay, so that's the element of health and fitness, right? So it all kind of works together very well, but again, it's very tangible. Now, why did I just go into that just rant about tangibility? Because the more that you can pinpoint what you're helping people with and the deliverables, the easier it is to spot people who might be struggling with the thing that you're trying to help, right? Because then you can go, if let's say you're going on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can find interest groups or affinity groups. That's what people like to talk about or what people are trying to solve. And you can go inside of those groups and start making relationships with people that are going to work with you, okay? So I have what's called an ABC formula. It stands for audience, branding, and conversion, right? Now, today in this video, let's talk about the first one, the A, okay? It's all about the audience. So we mentioned, okay, you have a very clear deliverable you're going, and that's going to show you where we can start going to go and find clients. There are really 3 ways that most beginners can go and get clients. Well, there's 4. We're going to talk about 3 ways. Number 1 is directly reaching out to people. Okay, so that's just, there's an entire world out there. Let's say that you're going to be only focused on people in the United States, right? Let's say you're in the United States. Okay, so I'm only going to go find people in the United States. But on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn and Twitter, that's 300 million people times 4. That's 1.2 billion opportunities to message someone, right? But that's a huge amount. That's way too many. You don't want to be spending, like, at least for me, I didn't want to be spending like 1 million hours a day messaging people, right? Especially because, like, if you're doing something like related to life, oftentimes you can't see that because most people on social media are going to put their best foot forward, right? So they don't want people to know that they're maybe depressed. Some people will, like, that's actually become kind of trendy for people to kind of talk about, like, that they have anxiety or they're feeling depressed, right? Especially if it's more of like people like probably about 30, 32 and below. So if you're working with that age range, where it's like, you know, kind of newer adult, young adult, right, then it can work because people will actually post that and they'll be like hashtag anxious, hashtag anxiety. So you do kind of have that, but in a lot of other cases, most people just put on, like, you know, a brave face or even like a mask, and they're not going to show what they're feeling. So direct outreach, if you have like a super wide audience that's very undefined, makes it very hard for you to be able to pinpoint exactly what you're looking for. So direct outreach is really good if you're doing something where it's like where it is like first you join a group or you have a very defined group of people. So let's say that you're only working with like nurses. Okay, that means anyone that has like a nurse in their profile, you can go on Facebook or LinkedIn or even Instagram to a certain degree, and you just narrow down that target. The problem is that it's just too broad. 1.2 billion people is just too broad, right? So you have to be able to narrow things down so it can give you direction, right? In the beginning, it's all about just having direction and finding patterns. Once you find those patterns, you can really go through that pattern as far as you need, and then you duplicate what you're doing on a separate type of group. So let's say you go for nurses, then you go for therapists, then you go for doctors, then you go for dentists, right? So that's 4 different distinct group of people. We can go very deep into those and start building a brand for ourselves. Another way you can do that, if you're going to go the direct outreach method, would be to find groups of people. Maybe it's like someone who's like overcoming anxiety, or maybe it's like a mental health type of group. Like, let's say that we're just helping people with like mental health stuff, right? I'm going to go into those kind of groups and I can be able to friend request the people, right? Because they're actually talking about the different things they're interested in learning how to solve this problem. So that already narrowed people down, right? But even then, that does take a lot of work, okay? That's why it's not my favorite. It's very, very effective. Do not get me wrong. It is extremely effective, right? It's free money. It's free traffic. It's just going to take a lot of your time. So if you don't have a lot of money, right, and you're trying to build something, then that methodology works very well. We even use that in my business to this day, right? Don't like that. That will make you a lot of money. Like, I made over $100,000 my first year as a coach just using Facebook groups and directly messaging people, right? Another way you can do it is by making content inside of groups or hashtags. So let's keep going with our group. Let's say you have a Facebook group for people who are like maybe dealing with like, you know, anxiety or depression. If you make a post that helps people really overcome anxiety and depression, generally what happens? You can have people raising their hand and saying, thank you for this, has really helped me. Or people can ask you questions about how to overcome anxiety and depression, right? And then that gets people to basically self-identify that they're actually interested in learning, not just learning about anxiety or depression, but learning from you, right? So you further narrowed it down. And now you can start messaging people. Now, in order to do that, you do have to go and find, you know, like 5 or 6 different groups that, you know, really work for you. In order to find 5 or 6 good groups, you have to go through hundreds of bad groups. I know that sounds like a lot. Just kind of take it in small numbers, right? Just join 20 groups a day. You do that times 5 days, that's about a week. You're already in 100 groups. If you do that for 2 weeks, you're already in 200 groups. Like, whenever I say a large number, do not get overwhelmed, okay? Just break it down into chunk-sized bites. Like, how do you eat an elephant? One piece at a time, okay? And remember, it's like you might find your first 5 groups very quickly, but in a lot of cases, a lot of like Facebook groups and even LinkedIn groups are just spam nowadays. It's just people trying to promote their stuff, and it just gets like really like cross-pollinated and just polluted with like different advertisements, and the group dies out. So that's one thing that you have kind of working against you when it comes to just general Facebook groups, right? So you have to be able to go where there's not a lot of competition and really learn how to differentiate yourself and stand out. Now, having zero competition, that's a bad thing. Having some competition is a good thing. Having too much competition is a bad thing. So you kind of want to be where there are competitors, but you don't want to be where there's like a million competitors and no one really is responding anymore. Cool, so you're making content in groups. You can ask questions, you can make valuable guides, you can also share your story and how you overcame depression or anxiety, etc., right? And then every single time people like, comment, or share on those posts, then you can send them that friend request and then start having a message conversation. I made a video on this channel that shows how to make messenger scripts, or how I think about messenger scripts, as well as like some behind the scenes coaching calls of me coaching some of our students in our program about how to do messaging. Also, inside of our program, we do work with you directly to make sure your messaging scripts is good. So we basically review your message conversations. We see what you're going through. We see what you're talking through and how you're talking. We say, okay, so you need to add this and add this and add this in order to make sure you book calls a lot more consistently, so you don't have to do as much work. Right, so that's what we talk about inside of our program. Now, the third type of way that you can go and get clients, and this generally actually does work very well if you have a super broad audience, is running some type of follower ad. So it's maybe you start your own Facebook group and you just run an ad to get people to join your group. That's something I did. I got 15,000 people to join my group from an ad on social media. Now, 15,000 people, you're not going to need that money, right? I'm shooting for making a lot of money. If you're just trying to make, $100,000 per year or $200,000 per year, you don't have to get that many group members. Like, you can really, I've seen people make a tremendous amount of money with like 1,000 people inside their group. A tremendous amount of money, like good 6-figure incomes with that, right? So it's not just always about the size, it's also about the quality, right? So that's one. You can also run Instagram ads, right? Where you just get people who have this particular issue that you're solving, go through it. It just kind of depends on whether you like doing more written or like more video or more pictures based. I prefer to do more videos just because it's just easier for me to do videos. And that's why like Instagram works really well for me. I also do like Facebook, because Facebook, you just like make a written ad. Like, it doesn't have to be a video, it can just be like a written ad. People join your group, you approve them, you have a conversation. Right? So it's just kind of like how we talked about earlier, where you're having the conversation, but they're self-identifying that they have this challenge, right? In order for them to join the group needs to be about the specific thing you're solving. So it's like, oh, hey, I saw that you joined my group about, like helping you with depression. How are things going? Oh, things are going good. Okay, well, what are you most hoping to learn out of joining this group? Well, I've been struggling with depression and this XYZ, and I'm really trying to overcome this. Okay. And now from there, you can kind of have two paths. You can do a 15-minute call with them, or you can even take them down a further message script. You get them in your 45-minute call. But again, it's all about self-identification, right? It's just now you're paying for people to self-identify. The first way was we were using like interests and affinities to have people kind of micro-identify themselves, and we had to do a lot of sifting ourselves. Then we started learning how to make content to get people to self-identify, so it takes a little bit of the pressure and the work off of our end. And then we learned how to pay money to get more people to self-identify and then respond to our message, right? So it's just all about like finding that balance. Over time, you're going to be doing less and less and less and less, right? Eventually, if you want to make just written content or YouTube videos or blog posts, then you have people who are already liking you, they've self-identified, and you don't have to do a lot of like manual outreach or a lot of manual back and forth messaging, right? So it's all about a process. It's all about like learning the game. Now, you don't just want to start making videos like if you don't have any people following you and if you don't really know what people want to hear, right? So that's why it's important to do the progression I talked about, because then you actually know how to start things from scratch. And if your advertisements stop working or if something just breaks down, you know how to replicate that success over and over again. So, in the beginning, you got to do some things that maybe you don't want to do right away. But then as you get better and better and as you make more and more money, you might never even have to do marketing after a certain point, right? Because you can just live off referrals. Just kind of depends on you. But yeah, so hopefully you enjoy this video. If you want some help growing your business, like maybe been trying to do it and it's just not quite going or growing with the way or the speed with which you'd like, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself, or a member of my team to see if we can help you inside of our paid program. Okay? So that's you. I'll see you on the call. If you're not quite ready, that's okay. I'll see you inside of the next video. Just take it easy. Talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day.